Today we're going to be finishing our talk on the main stories of the Puppet Carver, specifically Pizza Kit. This is the last story and probably the most shocking, and also just generally a weird story. It doesn't really have an antagonist we're familiar with, which is getting kind of normal for these books, but it also has a couple interesting plot twists that I think we should definitely talk about. In the next video I will be going over the Stitch Wraith epilogue, which is even crazier. But for today, we're going to be covering Pizza Kit, which is crazy on its own. So Pizza Kit follows two friends, Peyton and Marley. They're in a home ec class that is taking a trip to a pizza factory, specifically the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Factory, where you can build your own pizza and they can send it to you later on. As they're visiting the factory, Marley is kind of, she's definitely the more rebellious one, and she convinces Peyton to leave the group and to go exploring on their own, even though obviously they're not supposed to. They go onto a large catwalk over like these vats of sauce and stuff, and Peyton's scared of heights, so this is kind of concerning for her. But Marley starts to make fun of her, and she's like rocking the rails, and then all of a sudden she falls in. And Peyton doesn't see exactly where she falls, but she falls somewhere around the vat of sauce, this big cauldron thing. And so Peyton thinks she might have actually fallen into it. This obviously scares Peyton, and so she looks for Marley's body below, but she doesn't see it. And she realizes Marley may have burned alive in this vat of like boiling sauce. She wonders if she should tell someone about this, which, yes, she should. But she doesn't because she's scared that they'll think maybe she did this to Marley, because Peyton's always been kind of jealous of Marley, of how she looks, how she acts, everything, and so she thinks that they're going to think she did this. At home, everyone is kind of finding out that Marley's gone, no one knows where, and so Peyton's mother kind of grills her on, okay, where did Marley go? Peyton has to say that she has no idea, that they were separated, that she turned her back, and when she looked back where she was looking, Marley was just gone. And that night, she has this weird dream where Freddy Fazbear himself is taking body parts of Marley and putting them in like another smaller cauldron or something. I don't know, it's weird. It's a weird dream. It doesn't have anything to do with the rest. It's like those dreams in Room for One More that just didn't make any sense, but they were cool. And now we actually get to see Freddy Fazbear for the first time in a while, so hey, that's cool. Now this is the part of the story that I predicted was going to happen before it actually did, and I felt pretty confident that this was how the story was going to end. But first, this video is sponsored by the Elementia Studios Patreon. On there, for only $1, you can support me and also get all sorts of cool content like early videos, bonus content, exclusive behind-the-scenes stuff, basically whatever I throw onto there. And once my internet actually upgrades, which is apparently going to be happening this month, exclusive live streams, which I'm really looking forward to, so TikTok any day now. Also, I'm setting up exclusive merch for you to earn, potential giveaways that are only for Patreon members, lots of really cool stuff that I'm setting up right now, but this is a really new thing, so if you feel like supporting the channel for only $1 a month, check it out. The link will be in the description. Now this is the part of the story that I predicted was going to happen before it actually did, and I felt pretty confident that this was how the story was going to end. At class, they get their pizzas that they made delivered to them from the factory. And Peyton realizes she thinks Marley is in the pizza. She realizes that the dough feels like flesh, the sauce smells like blood, and the pepperoni looks like a tongue, I guess. It's hard to tell if she's imagining this or if it's actually Marley, at least for now. But she decides she needs to eat the pizza because this is probably the only evidence of what happened to Marley. She has to eat it and get rid of the evidence. And so she does, and after feeling very sick, she goes home. So she goes into the bathroom, and she's feeling really gross, like there's pressure on her stomach, and it's building. And she realizes it's coming slowly upward. And so she realizes something is trying to get out. She looks in the mirror, and she sees a hand, Marley's hand, coming out of her throat. Soon enough, it goes back in, it retreats, but she's freaking out now, and lumps start to appear on her skin. Don't know what those are, but they're growing in pressure, and all of a sudden the pressure bursts out of her eyes, and now she's blind, and then it bursts out of her nose and her mouth, and it's really gory, most gory the series has ever been, and really, really shocking, as I'm sure you can tell. It is so absolutely strange, and I was very surprised when I read this, because Fazbear Frights, I don't think has really gone this far before. I mean, it's gone far, but not this far. So Peyton wakes up and it's revealed this whole thing was a dream. and she hears rustling in the bushes, and a knock at the door, and she realizes whatever's left of Marley might be coming to get her. And so she decides she's going to wait on the deck, and she's going to wait there and see if Marley shows up, or whatever is left of her. Kind of like in the Breaking Wheel, where Julius, or whatever was left of him, returned to get his revenge. Only that's not what happens here. Now, it seems like Peyton drifts off again and has another nightmare here, because at this point in the story, we switch to Marley's perspective. Yes, she is alive, and apparently, she was just playing a ha-ha funny prank on everyone. She was hiding this whole time, and she already went to tell Sean, her potential love interest, that yeah, she's fine, and now she's gonna tell Peyton until she goes onto Peyton's yard, and she sees Peyton is lying on the ground with her neck and her head all the way twisted backwards, and she's lying there dead. And then Marley screams, and the story is over. It's so weird. This story is potentially one of the weirdest. There's a lot of nightmares, a lot of not real stuff, a lot of hallucinations. From the moment Peyton eats that pizza that she thinks is Marley, to the moment where it seems that in her sleep she falls off the deck and dies. There's a lot of trickery going on, but in the end, I think the craziest twist is that Marley was alive all along, and yeah, all of this was in Peyton's head, because of course it was. It's like 1:35 a.m., but more gory, and it takes place in a lot less time. I'm not sure how I feel about this story. I think I like it. All the stories in this book I've liked. It's just, they're all so strange. This series has gotten so strange. At least with the Puppet Carver, we knew that, okay, this means the Fazgoo is somewhat important, because this is the second story it's been in. At least they're not really recycling ideas. The most they've been recycling is like the same characters, I guess. That's really the most they've been doing. A lot of the characters feel the same, but for like antagonists and stuff, a lot of the most recent stories haven't really had noticeable antagonists from the games or anything. And so that's really odd as well. I enjoyed this story. There's a lot of people who haven't, and this book in general. But I think if you go into it not really expecting... If you go into the whole series expecting it to slowly transition away from what we know as FNAF and into more unique, interesting, brand new ideas, I think you'll find something to like here. I just wish that there was maybe a bit more to ground us in the idea that, yeah, this is Five Nights at Freddy's, because it feels like it isn't anymore. So maybe to keep that transition over to these new things, every once in a while they could have something that feels a bit more FNAF-y, like in Gumdrop Angel, which they did. I don't know, this book is probably one of the least connected to FNAF so far, and it's one of the most hated so far. But I like it, I don't know what to say. Next time we'll be covering the Stitch Wraith story. It's a really short one, but there is a lot to talk about, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll see you guys then. Let me know what you think about Pizza Kit, and yeah, that's about it. Bye.